Young. Ogwin.
Here. The next item on our agenda is acceptance of last month's meeting minutes, March 2024 planning committee minutes. That should have been in your packet. We've got time to look through those. We've got any comments, questions, or corrections? If not, entertain a motion to approve. Motion. Second. We have a motion from next second. Right. Roll call, please.
Bird.
Yes.
Lowe.
Yes.
Knight.
Yes.
Prater.
Yes.
Ogwin.
Yes. All right, so moving forward, the next item on the agenda is the public hearing. So I'm going to open the public hearing. And Laura, if you'll read us our first item.
Amendments to the Unified Development Code, Section 4.11, non-conforming uses and structures. Okay, this is our current code that we have for non-conforming uses and structures within the city limits. As you can see in the packet, there were some revisions. What we did is we did a lot of just kind of cleanup work to make it a little bit easier to read, as well as adding in the very first section the purpose and the general provision section. We kind of modified that and made it a little bit easier to read. And then in sections 4.114 and 4.115, there are sections that were changed from where the buildings could be abandoned for 6 months is what the current code has, and now they are being changed, proposed to being changed to 24 consecutive months, to where if somebody purchased the property or it has been sitting for 24 months, that prior to that they do not have to bring the exterior perimeters of the building up to code. They still have to bring the interior, the plumbing or the electrical or the HVAC up to code per city standards. So these are some revisions that there are two council members here that can speak more on the agenda of why this item is on the agenda for this evening. If you have any questions for them as well. Mr. Hillenberg is here and Mr. Ray is here to speak as well.
Yeah, James here too. So kind of what we're looking at is, if a building becomes abandoned, right, if it's a gas station, somebody takes it over, the loan process, the appraisal, all that stuff does take a little longer, 6 months. So that's the reason why we like to go out 24 months. This gives people time to get everything done, even if it's within the same building, and continue their business. There's been several instances where folks that came in have bought a structure, and that 6 month mark got them, and that's a ton of money. So folks are trying to build business in Cabot. We feel like the 24 months is the so.
The biggest change that I wanted to see is there's a part in there about annexation. As Cabot's growing, and we all want Cabot to grow, we're going to be taking in more existing structures. That's just part of it. And a building that was built as a restaurant in the 70s, if the drainage and everything's okay, and it's been draining fine and there's no issue, and 18 months down the road, another restaurant wants to go into that building, to tell that owner of that building that he needs to bring it up to all new current draining and half-street improvements, it can be very costly. But we had an instance in town, it wasn't even a building that was annexed, that the guy bought it, and the requirements for the half-street improvements were well over what he paid for the building to put the same kind of quick service restaurant in.
I'd just like to add that when some of the regulations left abandoned. We wanted to raise that standard. But to take a business that's been into, we're trying to keep from having blighted empty buildings. People have invested in these homes, but if we have to bring them up to new standards again on existing buildings, the intent of that, when it was originally concerning construction, I just need to see us blessing existing buildings as opposed to cost them and leaving those buildings empty. I'd like to see us fill up all of them and continue to grow.
Thank you. Anything further?
One thing I do want to add, this does not concern any kind of fire safety. So all fire codes, must remain in place and be run up to fire code because safety is top priority, of course.
Anyone else here to speak for this item? Seeing none, is there anyone here to speak against this item? Commissioner, I'll open it up to you. You got any thoughts or questions, or just from my look at it, and I understand what's being trying to do here is to get buildings that are dilapidated or whatever back into service. And I understand Spielberg made the comment about if everything's already been working, that's fine. We don't have to change it. But what if it's not working? And that's another. You're extending that process and not bringing it up to go too. So there's a flip side of that too. It's not all positives. Things sit there and not get rebuilt or redone. So I think that was probably why the 6 months or something was originally in there, was to give people the opportunity to get by, but not to make them sit there forever. I'll drop it off to the commissioners. Any other comments?
I agree with having it longer, and I do agree that the building inside, wiring, plumbing, such as that, needs to be to code. But we also, I think everyone here wants small business to come to Cabot. And I think, the 6 months is kind of making it hard. So I'm in favor of this 100%.
Any other comments? Would be a motion to move forward, or
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
a motion, Commissioner Berger, and a second, Commissioner McGinn. Roll call, please.
McGuinn,
Yes.
Prater,
Yes.
Knapp,
Yes.
Bird. Yes.
So that carries 4-0. We will move forward to the next item in the public hearing.
1901 South Pine Street, rezone R1 single family to C2 general commercial. Okay, this item is again located at 1901 South Pine Street. It is currently zoned R1 single family. The applicant is proposing to rezone it to C2 general commercial. It does have an existing single family residence on it, along with the vacant property behind it. The applicant's requesting to rezone approximately 1.97 acres in size. The property to the north and the south is currently zoned R1. The property across the street, we have mixed, we have commercial as well as some office. But down Pine Street with our Pine Street corridor, most of that property is continuing to rezone to commercial district. He will be in the future proposing to bring to y'all a site plan to build on this property, a commercial building on it. So he is in the audience if you have any questions for him. All items have been addressed with the staff for this rezone.
All right, is the representative here in the audience? You would come forward and state your name.
Austin Gotton.
Elaborate.
Ms. Nobles explained everything very well. I'm just here to answer any questions that you may have of the existing structure and the remodeling of these.
Thank you. Being that this is a public hearing, is anyone here to speak for this item? Anyone here to speak against this item? Commissioners, any comments? This seems to be following in line with most of the other properties that are along the same street, following, seem happening with all these residential lots next to that particular street. We'll need a motion to move forward.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion from Commissioner Gwynn, second from Commissioner Byrd. Roll call, please.
Gwen,
Yes.
Prater,
Yes.
Knapp,
Yes.
Bird, yes.
Passes 4-0. At this point, we'll close the public hearing, and we'll move into our new business. Got several items in that. First item is item A.
Preliminary plat lots 2A, 2B, and 2C, Parkview Place, Lemons Engineering.
Before we go too far into this one, I think we had a request from the applicant to table this.
We did. I did receive an email from Mr. Lemons asking to table this item until the May meeting. Make a motion to table.
Second. Motion to table from Commissioner Byrd, and second. Commissioner
Prater,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Knapp,
Yes.
Bird, yes.
Vote 4-0, that item is tabled. Next item.
Replat lot 73R and 74R, Lakewood subdivision phase 2A, Lemons Engineering. Okay, this is a replat of lot 73R and 74R, Lakewood subdivision phase 2A. Mr. Jim Green still owns this property. They are two vacant lots. It is a lot line adjustment for these. These are two existing platted lots within this subdivision. There is a portion of the back of these two lots that are outside the city limits, and as discussion prior to the meeting on this final plat, they did show where the city limits line lies on these two lots. However, after discussion with the city attorney, Jim, we may need to adjust this, these lot lines and renaming of this plat due to part of this being in the city limits and part of it being outside the city limits. And also part of this property that you're adding to this plot, to this plat is not even annexed into the city. And it was not part of this subdivision to begin with. So what we've looked at is where the 20 feet on the rear of these lots are going to have to be separated from this replat. It'll be a replat and a final plat, and you'll have to name these two tracts and separate them out since they were not part of this original subdivision. So with that, I guess I'll finish the staff report, and then I guess we can, this was a little bit drawn out. Other than that, all the staff comments have been addressed, so I'll let you move forward with this.
All right, welcome back, Mr. Green.
Jim Green. Tim had other commitments tonight, so I'm standing in for Green Clemens. As you can see, we have side of those two lots and adding a portion, I guess the front area. Now, we had assumed that, well, the city limits, that 10 feet that we're adding to the east, we're going to add to the east, is not in the city limits, and what I was going to do is bring it into the city limits. So then it eliminates any issues with the city limits. Is that
So you would have to annex that.
10 feet? Yes, 10 feet by 200, whatever it is.
So probably the cleanest way is probably to annex that portion in and then,
Correct. I was assuming that we would annex it in before you guys signed off on this project. Of course, we haven't started that process, but I would immediately, assuming everything else looks like it's going to be okay, we would bring that 10 foot into the city limits.
but it still doesn't negate that that portion was not part of this subdivision.
Correct.
To begin with.
Yes. And so we would do whatever, well, now, in dealing with that issue, the other portion that we're going to add to lot 74 was also not in the subdivision. And if you can, point to stuff, but you're in your drawing, we're not only going to add 10 feet to the east side, but there's a portion, and that would be in the southwest corner of that area that you're on, that we're going to add to the lot also. So we're going to add to 10 feet to lot 73 and 74, and add this portion of ground to lot 74. So there's two additions, you might say two areas in lot 74 that's being added, or proposed to be added. There should be, I'm point to it, but it's if you're looking at
Jim, what was the purpose of adding this?
purpose, well, kind of, the utility easement on lot 74 was enormous in size. And so we needed to add some missing ground. Lot 74 had problems. So we were adding, I'm not seeing that. I think they left out the last drawing you received.
Where is the utility easement concerned with?
Look at the south end of it. You'll see a dotted line that runs from, let's say, the west half of the south end that runs straight north, but I can't see what you're looking at. That was created because of the sewer line. So that whole area, we should have caught that. We didn't. When we drew that lot, we didn't realize the effect that utility easement was having on that lot. So the lot needed to be expanded. And we're expanding it into an area that was just going to be a green area. It's not part of the subdivision. It was just, well, it was like the other 50 acres south of it. It was just nothing. So we expanded. So our proposal is to expand lot 74, 10 foot to the east, which is the 10 foot we discussed, and approximately 30 to 40 feet by 60 or 80 feet on the, and I apologize, but actually on the drawing that you last received, it was not on there. It was on the one that originally we sent in, let me make sure I get the right one. Oh, yeah, no, it's on the one where we corrected the things that Laura needed corrected, and you can see a dotted line that starts, wish I could point to it.
So,
That-
look at the screen up there. This is the original lot line
I can't,
of this lot right here.
are you showing it? Am I
Yes.
supposed to-
I'm showing it, yeah. I don't know that I let it,
I
I'll
can't
see.
see it. Let me get closer and see if I can. see if I
This
can-
was the original
Oh, yes,
lot.
yes, yes.
This was the original lot line.
Uh,
This area in the yellow here was not part of the original subdivision.
Correct. It was not part of that lot, it was not part of the original
The
subdivision.
subdivision was platted around that.
Yes, so that part was not in the subdivision and not part of that lot.
The other question is this back part back here was not part, it's not even in the city.
Right, it's
just
not in the
back
city,
10
not in the
feet.
subdivision, and not either. So that portion, the 10 foot that you asked for, would have to be annexed into the city. Now, for simplicity, back when we annexed this property, we did.
If you can go back to the mic so everybody watching online.
But the area that you just outlined, that is in the city, but it's not part of the subdivision, and it's not part of that lot. But it did get annexed, so it is part of the city, but not part of the subdivision.
So Laura, is that able to be replatted if it's not part of a plat already? Or does it need to be platted first?
My question is, do we need to do the annexation first?
Well, I think one issue for sure, Mr. Green, is that the property in the back is not in the city. That, I don't think we can replat that to include that.
Well, no,
lots.
what I plan to do is bring it into the city. I'm an annex.
Understood, but I don't think we're in a position to do that, with not being in the city here.
But I'm assuming that what you would be doing at this point is saying, once it's annexed, we're okay with it. And I'm going to annex it before you sign off. So I'm assuming that these problems that we're talking about are problems you're going to tell me need to be corrected. I'll correct them, and then you will approve the document.
So being annexed is going to take you a little bit of time to do that.
Probably.
I'm wondering if it might be in your best interest to bring this back, kind of clean this up and bring it back.
Well, the reason I'm not doing that, or haven't looked at doing that, is I wanted your blessing on what I've got shown with the contingency that, okay, you've got to bring in the 10 feet to the city. So what I'm asking is, and the reason we have started the procedure of doing the annexation and doing that is we wanted your blessing that once we do it, then we're okay, versus not okay. In other words, we were hoping for an approval with contingencies, one of those contingencies being the 10 foot being annexed, that's fine, and whatever we need to do
Well, it looks like you've answered a lot of the questions and everything that planning review had posed for this. The items that came up, though, was the item outside the city limits, which would be a question.
Right.
I think that's a concern. I don't think in my opinion, it doesn't really affect, if it was in the city and it was part of this subdivision, then wouldn't be a big deal. But
Right.
if it's not. Same with the portion at the bottom, is not part of this original subdivision, so you can't really replat something that's not part of that subdivision into that subdivision. I think you have to plat that. But that's all right.
So Ben, correct me if I'm wrong, so if Mr. Green owns this egress, which is parallel to where he's wanting to add to this lot 74, and he still owns 73 and 74, he can add that to one of the lots and he can replat them correctly, even though, because you own more than 51% of the subdivision still. So he could theoretically do that portion, but I think on the other portion that Mr. Lowe was talking about is the annexation part of it. If you've addressed everything and you've done a plat correctly according to the City of Cabot's regulations, theoretically, legally, they cannot tell you no to this.
Well, I was just assuming that you look at it and say, yeah, everything looks good. This is not part of the city, then I'll annex that 10 feet. Whether it takes 10 days or 10 months, I would do that. So, and that eliminates the question there. And the other question is, and I think it's rather normal if you replat a lot, that lot kind of stands alone. It doesn't have to be part of the entire subdivision, and that's not a major deal either. We just have to re-record the subdivision and re-record lot 74. So this would be re-recording lot 74 and 73, and if you need to re-record the subdivision plat. So if you don't have problems beyond just these recording issues, then that's where we hope to get to tonight. Meaning, yep, you annex this 10 foot, bring this into the subdivision, and we're all okay.
But any commissioners have any comments on this?
I guess I have a legal question. I don't know that we can necessarily vote with a contingency when it's outside of our jurisdiction right now. And that's why I think where you're leaning is tabling it until you have the jurisdiction. That would allow us, our vote to be valid. Is that right?
Well, actually, what I'm trying to ascertain is, do you have a problem with anything I've shown you other than the problem of annexation?
Right.
Not part of subdivision or whatever.
Ben,
So to answer the Commissioner's question or concern, I would say you have wide latitude in accepting things with conditions attached. The one thing I would say, maybe exception to that limitation that is because it's outside the jurisdiction, I would have some concerns about that. It sounds like you pretty much answered what Mr. Green has asked you. You've shared your concerns, they've been met, except the annexation thing. I think maybe what the Commissioner suggested of table this thing out a little bit, or just have Mr. Green notify Laura when the annexation, we'll know the annexation is resolved after the full council, we'll know. And then after that happens, we can get it back before you to be approved.
And annexation process automatically involves you guys anyway. I don't remember the exact procedure we go through, but you're part of the annexation process. So, that'd just be a matter of doing it.
How long is the annexation process?
The other question is, we can't vote on a plat that has a portion of it that hasn't been replatted into that property, correct? It has to be replatted into that lot in order for us to approve it.
Well,
Yes,
but the problem with that
Let's
is,
let,
we can't replat it without.
Mr. Green, let's let Ben answer that question.
If there is a way to satisfy that, I think is more something that can be done with conditional approval. But you're right, it can't be done without some sort of fix on his end. That way you have a little bit more leeway. I think the harder part of proceeding is that the small part of the property is, yeah.
Mr. Green, I'm kind of saying that I don't think there's issues with concerns that this would be replatted this way, but I think there's concerns that you can't legally do that the way it sits right now. So I think that's,
I realize that, but there's a kind of quandary there. I can't replat it without your permission.
we You can't replat it the way it is sitting
No,
right now, so.
I can't change this plat any way whatsoever without your blessing. Is that not a true
Well,
statement?
I think you're missing the, I don't think anybody's opposed to replatting this, however, we're not going to be in favor of replatting something that's not a city, so I think that would be step one for you to do, and
Yes,
we're not
correct.
going to condition a plat approval based on that.
Yes, I
So
agree
with
with
that
that.
said, do you want to vote on this tonight, or would you
Well-
like to take this item?
Actually, ignore the annexation issue, the 10 foot on the east, and deal with the other part. And I'm just looking for feedback. Are there any problems other than whether this is recorded or that's recorded or replayed or this and that?
I think there's just questions about whether we can properly do that with a big recorder or not. I think those need to be answered before.
Right, because these things that I was really hoping to ascertain that if we get the annexation correct, and we get this correct, then you don't have a problem.
Well, there's been quite a bit of discussion about that. I don't think we can tell you how a future vote's going to go, but we've talked in length about the thoughts and comments on this.
For example, the replat, I can't do that without you.
So I agree with Commissioner Connect, and I suggest, I think the best thing we do is table this, and you converse with Ms. Nobles, and she can guide you on what needs to be done next. I don't believe anyone's against replatting here, but it's got to go through the proper channels. And right now, we're kind of in the air and can't do anything.
I understand.
In other words, we have to have a drawing that shows the portion that's not in this plat being put in this plat.
That's it. That's the drawing.
Would you be willing to table this until you can discuss it further with Ms. Nobles?
Yes.
Okay, then I make a motion we table.
Second.
A motion from Commissioner Wynn and a second from Commissioner Byrd to table this item. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Byrd,
Yes.
Prater,
Yes.
Knapp,
Yes.
McGuinn.
Yes.
Okay, so this item's tabled, both boards are going to table this item. Mr. Reed, thank you for coming here, and I can work this out and get it back to you. We'll see you soon, I'm sure.
Thank you much.
All right. The next item,
Final plat, block 21R, Bellamy Edition, Bond Consulting Engineers. Okay, this is a final plat for lot 21R, Bellamy Edition. It's located at 85 South Pine Street. There is an existing office building currently on the property. It's currently zoned C2. The property is about 0.63 acres in size. It's located at the corner of South Pine Street and Lily Street. The applicant is proposing to remodel the structure, or actually, I'm sorry, demo the structure and start from scratch with a new commercial building along with parking that we will see further down in the agenda. But right now, they are wanting to replat the lot so that they can have a bigger portion with their, these are actually our two parcels being platted into one. They've addressed all comments except for getting the approval here and signing the filing at the courthouse.
all right, we have a representative here.
Yes, sir. Aaron Robinson, Bond Engineering. And this is just a cleanup, basically, to plat it. So if you guys have questions for me, I'll be more than happy to answer.
All right, Commissioners, any questions?
What kind of, is it just be an office?
Yes, sir. It's going to be the same business.
Oh, okay. Okay, so parking, more parking will be required.
Well, you'll see that next, but yeah, we addressed all the parking.
Any other comments? Any motion to address this item?
Motion to approve.
Motion.
Second.
Motion from Commissioner Prater, and a second. Commissioner Knapp. Roll call.
Knapp,
Yes?
Prater,
Yes.
Byrd,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
All right, so that passes 4-0. Right back to this item on the site plan.
yes, with the site plan. So they are proposing a site plan, again, for demolition of the existing building to build a new office building with more parking lot with additional landscaping and sidewalks as well. It is going to stay the existing proposed use of the current business that is there. They have addressed all items except for approval here and then a grading permit prior to getting a building permit. Other than that, I don't have any outstanding items.
Laura did a great job. If you got any questions. We did eliminate one of the driveways. So, on the
So it is
89.
not-
Thought you'd appreciate that.
I did appreciate it.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion from Commissioner Byrd, a second. Commissioner Prater. Roll call.
Gwen,
Yes.
Knapp,
Yes.
Prater,
Yes.
Byrd,
Yes.
Vote 4-0, that site plan is approved.
Thank you.
And the next item.
final plat AEDD Cardinal Estates Bond Consulting Engineers. Okay, so this is a plat for a one-lot subdivision that is located on Cardinal Lane. It is a vacant piece of property that is unimproved. It's about 2 acres in size. Again, they are just wanting to plat this into a one-lot subdivision so that they can, as you'll see on the next item, for a site plan to be built. The only outstanding item that was in the staff report was whether the center line and the boundary lines of the property were the same in one, and if so, then we don't have any outstanding items.
Applicant. We'll hear from them.
Here to answer any questions. Laura does such a good job, I know I need to be.
So did we answer the question about the?
Is the center line the same in one, or is there just an offset difference?
No, there's just an offset difference.
We'll just need to notate that in the distance.
Because I think if you look at the apartments to the east, it's the same bearing on those apartments. But I can make a note of this. I think the only other thing that was on the staff report was the whether or not we needed a 10-foot easement along the east and west property lines.
We asked for that easement to be a utility easement in case any utilities need to go through there for future development, whether it's on the north side, south side, or any direction. That's what we
Yeah,
asked for.
they really don't want people to cut through the property with utilities, and that's why we gave a utility easement, parallel with Cardinal, and then one along the south end of the property, because that's where the sewer is, but as you'll see in the site plan, the train doesn't allow for sewer to be extended any farther to the west. So, we don't mind making it like maybe a water or sewer easement, but just to make it a blanket utility easement, and cable can come through there, fiber can go through there, gas can go through there. We're leaving a lot of that area wooded, just to kind of keep that aesthetic appeal of the trees and nature. So we don't want utilities going through there just because there's a easement.
We would be okay with the water and utility easement. I'm sorry, water and sewer easement.
Okay.
All right, so
agreeable to both sides, or just one side?
If we could do one side, that would be great, but I think you're gonna have more luck on the east side than you are on the west, but we can do both sides.
All right, Commissioners, any other comments or questions on this? So I think we have some staff comments, minor modification there, so. If someone's making a motion, we can include that.
Motion to approve the staff comments.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the staff comments from Commissioner Byrd and a second by Commissioner Prater. Roll call.
Knapp,
Yes.
Byrd,
Yes.
O'Gwen,
Yes.
Prater.
Yes.
That item passes 4-0. To the next item.
AEDD Cardinal Estates site plan. This is the site plan for the property that you just approved for the plat. They are proposing to build a 5,600 square foot residential building with parking and landscape and half-street improvements along Cardinal Lane. As you can see in the staff report, they've submitted exterior elevations as well. And today, Aaron actually did submit the photometric plan to my office, so that item actually has been addressed. We just discussed the center line outstanding item, as well as the utility easement for the east and west side of the property. The only other outstanding item, I believe, besides approval here, was on the detention report. I think there were some minor items since you revised the detention or drainage report, I'm sorry. They did have some extra additional items that do need to be addressed as well.
Yeah, I'll get those to you. I just haven't, I got them Friday and I just have not had time to get it all together. But I'll get those to you.
Is that reference to the additional drainage comments?
Yes.
Is that right on? Anything else, Aaron?
Unless you have any questions for me.
Any comments or questions on this site plan?
What's it gonna be? Like, I mean, it's R4, it's got handicap parking, it's got a ramp, but it's not necessarily a single-family residential home.
So, it's been explained to me what it is, but I don't want to butcher it. It's like a care facility, and there are handicapped individuals that would just stay. Now, I don't know if it's long-term, short-term, what requires those individuals to be there. I work outside the building. Inside the building is not my forte.
You got enough parking on this one? Very much parking there.
So there is, they do not anticipate more than like 2 cars there at any time, because the individuals that will be staying there do not have vehicles.
Just trying to understand, you know, and down the road, we need more parking.
There's a lot of land, we can add a lot of parking.
Can we run it on down that sidewalk there? A little bit more there.
Well, I mean, we can go south, you know, if let's say, so the developer of this has a contract for, I don't remember exactly how many years, once again, I'll butcher it if I tell you. But they have a very long contract. So this building is not going to change hands for, it's like 20 or 30 years, because that is their loan. Their loan is tied to the building and the property. So let's say in 20 or 30 years, someone buys it and wants to make it apartments, then if they needed more parking, the parking that's there could be extended to the south to obtain more parking spaces.
Are there employees here? Going to be parking also?
There will be a staff person there that stays with them, but just one.
Any other comments or questions on the site plan? I'd like to make a motion to address the item. That staff comments. Is there any comments?
Motion to approve the staff comments.
Second.
So we have a motion to approve the staff comments by Commissioner Byrd and a second by Commissioner Prater. Roll call, please.
Byrd,
Yes.
Knapp,
Yes.
Glenn,
Yes.
Prater,
Yes.
Okay, the site plan is ordered 4-0. Next item, please.
final plat AEDD Polk Estates, Vaughn Consulting Engineers. This is literally the same thing, it's just a different piece of property over on the north side of town. This property is located at, on South Polk Street. It is a vacant piece of property. Again, they are just are going to final plat this in order to build a structure on this site. The property is about 1.16 acres in size. It is, they will gain access off of South Polk Street. The outstanding items in the staff report when this was put out have actually been discussed and addressed already due to what the previous structure was on this property. So the staff items that are outstanding, number 5 has already been addressed, and then outstanding item number 7 having to do with the parking easement. Aaron's actually going to still get that to me to make sure that we can actually abandon that easement. But other than that, the other staff comments have been addressed with this plat.
Laura? Yeah, Aaron? Is there anything on this item?
No, sir, unless y'all have any questions.
So we did resolve the issue with street right-of-ways, what truly is a right-of-way versus what was part of an apartment complex or something previously, I guess.
Yes, the right-of-way on North Jackson Street is actually completely off of this property. And then the parking easement is what the 25-foot easement along the north property, that he's going to get me a copy of that parking easement to see the clarification on it and make sure that it can either be abandoned or if it's still going to have to stay as is.
Commissioners, any comments, questions, or concerns on this item? Hearing none, entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second. I have a motion from Commissioner Prater and a second from Commissioner O'Quinn. Roll call, please.
Knapp,
Yes.
Prater,
Yes.
Byrd,
Yes.
Glenn,
Yes.
So that item, final plat is approved 4-0. And we'll move to our next item. Thank you.
site plan AEDD Polk Estates. This is the same piece of property. They are proposing to build the same structure on this property as they are on the Cardinal piece of property. The parking will be different on this South Polk piece of property just because the size of the property and the shape of the property. After this staff report was created and the packet was sent out, there was some discussion with the applicant about removing some additional asphalt that is past the dumpster that goes east and west, or sorry, yeah, like east and west, so that there will be no cut through from the school property to get to North Jackson. It will help out with any kind of traffic cutting through this property. And they are also removing a drive on South Polk Street that currently has access as well to cut through this property. So there are some outstanding items in the staff report. Again, some of them have already been addressed with the right-of-way. And then the parking lot easement will be supplied. He did also supply me with the lighting photometric plan already as well. Other than that, I think there are additional drainage report comments because you did revise the drainage report, so those additional comments have been added in the staff report as well.
All right, the applicants. Again, Aaron, anything to?
Unless y'all have any questions for me.
Commissioners, any questions on this item?
I see Chuck's wheels turning about the parking, why this was different than the other one.
I kind of wondered about that.
I knew you were going to ask, I'll just answer it. So whenever we did this site plan originally, we took out that one driveway, so we only had one access on the pole. But we kept all the asphalt going on to, we'll call it Plan West. And I had discussion with Laura last week about this, and we decided to remove the rest of that asphalt. They would actually like to remove more and actually get rid of more parking spaces. But just in the sense of time, we just went ahead and cut it off where the dumpster was. So that's why there's as much parking as there is on this one.
Sounds good.
Thank you for that explanation. Any other questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
So we have a motion to approve from Commissioner Quinn, and a second, Commissioner Byrd. Roll call.
Byrd,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Prater,
Yes.
Matt,
Yes.
So that site plan is approved 4-0.
Thank you.
We have one more item.
site plan lot 4R, R&W subdivision, Vaughn Consulting Engineers. Okay, this is a site plan, piece of property that's located at the corner of East Main Street and North Jackson Street. They are proposing, it's a vacant lot, they are proposing to build an office building with parking lot, with half-street improvements, with landscaping as well. The building that they're proposing is just under 3,000 square feet. As you can see in the report, the parking lot will access North Jackson Street. The building will actually front East Main Street. This piece of property may look familiar because y'all did approve a setback reduction on East Main Street for this building to be constructed. In the staff report, they did submit the architectural elevations so that you can see what the exterior of the building will look like. Karen, you did revise, I think, on this one, the drainage report as well, so there are some new outstanding items for the drainage report that need to be addressed. And then he still has to give me the lighting plan, photometric plan for this piece of property, but other than that, staff comments have been addressed.
All right. Yeah. Any comments from the applicant?
I have no comments unless y'all have a question for me.
Commissioners, proceed back to first additional stormwater comments on this item as well. Any minor outstanding staff comments to be addressed to. Any other questions, concerns?
Motion to approve pending staff comments.
Second. A motion from Commissioner Knapp, a second from Commissioner Wynn to approve with staff comments. Roll call.
Byrd,
Yes.
Knapp,
Yes.
O'Gwen,
Yes.
Prater.
Yes.
All right, that item is approved 4-0.
Thank you.
Before Mr. Aaron leaves the podium there, say congratulations to being inducted into the Arkansas Academy of Civil Engineers.
Well, thank you.
Very good work.
Same to you. We got inducted together.
All right. All right, we got one more item. Listen, or to address.
Site plan lot 15, Gateway Commercial Lemons Engineering. I did receive a email from Mr. Lemons requesting that this item be tabled until the May planning commission meeting.
Motion to table.
Second.
I have a motion table from Commissioner Byrd and a second from Commissioner Knapp. Roll call, please.
Knapp,
Yes.
O'Gwen,
Yes.
Byrd,
Yes.
Prater.
Yes.
So, by a vote of 4-0, that item is tabled. We'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is community input. Is there anyone here that would like to address the commission? No? All right, seeing none. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
I have a motion from Commissioner Knapp and a second from Commissioner Byrd. All in favor?